boxers, listen to my instructions at all times. Keep your head out, keep your punches up, no holding. When I say break, step back, okay? Protect yourselves at all times. Touch gloves, step back.
So welcome along everybody and a very good evening. Underway here on TNT Sports, and all eyes over the last few weeks, of course, on the Olympic Dream Factory. Here we are back in the pro game, and given the speed of change in professional boxing over the past couple of years, every possibility that one or more of the young hopefuls on our undercard here could quickly put themselves in the frame for a dream job sooner rather than later on the undercard, perhaps rubbing shoulders with some of the greats of our era. That is the incentive for all concerned, even, Richie, late starters in relative terms. At the age of 28, William Hamilton, they call him the future, but the future better start arriving quickly. What do you say?
Well, yeah, good luck to him. Back to the grind, Paul, as you said. We've seen a lot of quality over there in Paris, but it's back to your call. And for some professionals, this is where it all begins, and this is the real grassroots of the professional game. And yes, William Hamilton certainly left it a little bit late at 28, but not too late, I suppose, at cruiser. And let's see how he goes. He's 5-0 at the moment, remember, with those 3 knockouts. So he started his career off pretty well. And let's see if he can continue it tonight.
I know to a degree he's been fed opponents at this stage in his career. That's how the pro game operates. But he has been putting his men away quite early, regularly. 3 wins inside the 2 rounds. So I guess somewhere in the back of his mind, Richie, he's saying, under the lights, live on TNT Sports tonight, need to do something similar here.
Yeah, exactly. He'll want to impress, won't he, and want to get a knockout here. But he's in against a fairly difficult opponent, I think, Perry Howe. Only been stopped 4 times, remember, in the 16 defeats that he's had. So he can be a little bit elusive and knows his way around. So Hamilton may just have to work a little bit harder for that knockout if it's to come. Setting up behind that lead hand, remember. And yes, he'll want to impress. Right on cue there, working with the jab. And that's what he should be doing. He's going to set up this big right hand. But he has got power, hasn't he, Hamilton? And he's fairly exciting.
Howe is aware of that, of course. Very, very busy 2024 for Howe. 7 fights already before tonight. Took Nathan Corless the 6-round trip in Liverpool in March. Took Stephen Ward 6 rounds in Belfast in the same month. And he's packed in a couple of midsummer shows as well in June.
And you can see his style here, Paul. Perry Howe just sitting back and can be probably looking. If that connects, then that could be a knockout shot, right hand over the top. But you got to remember, Howe is moving backwards and he's always on that back foot, and he's just trying to contain Hamilton coming forward. But he'll need to keep that chin down and keep that left hand a little bit higher, because I think that's what Hamilton's looking for, that right hand over the top.
Hamilton looking for the big end to the round. That didn't quite eventuate.
Vitality rewards you for getting active with up to 2 months cashback on your premiums. Woohoo! Move forward with Vitality.
Research, refine, repeat. All to let you shine the way you are. Colgate Max White Ultimate. Unlike regular toothpaste, its unique formula deeply whitens for 10 times whiter teeth. So however you smile, you feel perfect. Colgate Max White Ultimate. Deeply whitens for 10 times whiter teeth.
We're in the corner with Alan Smith and William Hamilton, who features in our opener here live at Cruiserweight on TNT Sports from the Yorkport Bethnal Green against Perry Howe. Hamilton with good intentions off the starting gun, but didn't land one of the big shots early. Howe didn't risk much in that opening round, which is fair enough also, Rich.
Yeah, indeed. And listening to Alan Smith in that corner, he's an experienced man, isn't he, Alan Smith? And he was echoing what we were saying about setting that right hand up behind that jab. So he wants to see him jab a little bit more, occasionally double jab to close that gap down, and then whip the right hand over. And I think what Alan Smith would like to see him also do is just push him back to the ropes, and that restricts his movement a little bit, and then he can set up those bigger shots.
Keeps on reaching with it. That right hand maybe reaching a bit too much.
This is when you need to call on a few feints here and there, Paul. Just feinting with that lead hand and lead foot and just trying to draw the lead of your opponent. And then as he obviously throws that jab out, that's when you've got to time that right hand counter over the top.
Now he's happy to wait, happy to contain, and happy to conserve fuel at this early stage. This is a scheduled 6-rounder, incidentally. All reasonable from his point of view. Only one win in the last 15 for Perry Howe. He's really lived 2 lives in his boxing career, Howe. He was one of the teenage whiz kids in Sheffield, apparently, about 20 years ago, Richie, in the famous Brendan Ingle gym with all the stars of the era, Johnny Nelson, Isham Pickering, Junior Witter among them. What a school that was to learn in. But then he took a complete career change of direction, decided to join the army, served in the Royal Engineers, and now comes back to boxing. Second time. I just got to hope for his sake that the skills ingrained in all those youngsters still are there for him.
Well, I mean, what a gym it was. It still is. But the gym then, when Brendan Ingle was with us, was a conveyor belt of champions, wasn't it, that he used to produce? And the style that they had was just unbelievable. Switch hitters and very, very elusive boxers, and made the right. If you made a mistake against them, then they would just punish you with knockout shots. I remember way back to Harold Graham, how good he was. Then, of course, Prince Nassim come through, and then your Johnny Nelsons, and as you say, Junior Witters and Isham Pickerings, Ryan Rhodes. The list goes on, it really does. So, yes, I'm sure he will have learned a thing or two. Perry Howe.
Trying to steal the last 30 seconds of it. There's an old Ingle gym trick from Howe. Nice job, actually, last 30 seconds anyway.
All-inclusive to over 100 destinations. Adventure awaits on a Morella cruise. Atoll protected.
The Mix and Match menu is back at McDonald's. Choose any 3 for just £3. Only until the 27th of August. Go on, get mixing.
Robert Riley in the corner with Perry Howe from Sheffield. Parsons Cross in Sheffield, making the trip down to the East End to the famous York Hall Bethnal Green for our show opener tonight on TNT Sports at Cruiserweight. A couple of rounds in. Our referee, I should have mentioned slightly earlier, my apologies, Amy Pugh, has not really had call to get involved. Amy Pugh, a very talented and welcome addition to the refereeing ranks. So she is in charge in the ring. The scoring is still being carried out by an equally qualified referee at ringside in Mark Bates. But Rich, could we say with fair conviction that Hamilton has got 2 in the bank?
Yeah, I think so. He's won the first 2 rounds, not a lot really happening. He's just got to be more active with his lead hand, Paul. And because you can see what Howe is doing, he's on the back foot, he's waiting for these attacks, and he's waiting for this right hand to come across. So you just got to take his attention away from that and just keep popping away with the jab and just bring maybe his elbows down a little bit, target the body occasionally with the jab downstairs, and just be a little bit more active with that, more variation with the lead hand to set up that backhand of his, because he's obviously got power, Hamilton, but he's just waiting a little bit too long.
1 or 2 good intentions early in this round, the 3rd round from Howe. Sounded like a bit of a rollicking in the corner, actually, from Riley, didn't it? Now it's rather settling into the pattern of the first 2. But Richie, is there a risk in Hamilton deciding I've got to put the show on and I've got to start throwing and throwing? that he might leave himself too open. I think that's really what Alan Smith touched upon as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, Paul, when you're working with the jab, you're being fairly cautious anyway behind that shot, especially if you get your chin down behind your lead shoulder and just working away with the jab and doubling up the jab and pushing the opponent back. You just got to be a little bit more busy, because Howe's just waiting for these attacks here. He's fairly comfortable with just sitting back, containing what's in front of him, because the slower the pace, it's suiting Howe down to the ground. So Hamilton has got to do a little bit more, got to be a bit more busier, and get his opponents back onto the ropes and make them feet come square, and that's when he can switch the attack downstairs. Then he's not doing enough for Hamilton at the moment. You can see the powers there, Paul, with him. Either hand, like I say, it's setting these attacks up and setting up these power shots. And you've got to do that behind the lead hand.
Largely it's comfortable for Howe, though, isn't it? And that's not a good thing from Hamilton's perspective.
No, it's comfortable for him because the pace is really slow, and the pace is actually suiting Howe down to the ground. You can control Hamilton that's in front of him at the moment, because there's not enough work coming from him. Just simple.
So the halfway point here, William Hamilton is being taken along at a rather genteel pace, to tell the truth, against Perry Howe in our opener. A little later tonight, the young super welterweight from Northampton, Ben Fales, on the card tonight. You may well be familiar with Ben Fales' early career progress. He and his twin brother Carl, virtually inseparable at any time of day or night. Both in great form as Ben arrives to face Omir Rodriguez a little bit later. That's scheduled to be the 5th live fight of 7 tonight here on TNT Sports. So a genteel pace so far. William Hamilton against Perry Howe in our opener at cruiserweight. 6 rounds scheduled. Hamilton 5 straight wins. Was starting to build a little bit of a reputation as quite a fast starter. Not tonight.
No, he's just found it difficult, hasn't he, to nail his opponent with a shot, because Howe is reluctant to come forward. He's on that back foot. He's just waiting for the attacks from Hamilton, and Hamilton's not doing enough work. So it's just, up to now, it's a little bit frustrating. He's winning the rounds, but there's not a lot in them, and there's literally not a lot happening. But you're just waiting for that one shot from Hamilton. You know it's in him. He's just got to set it up. And can he catch Howe flush? Difficult to catch a man who's constantly going back on the back foot. But occasionally just leaves his chin in the air a little bit, does Howe. And that's maybe why a jab downstairs and then the whip the right hand. There's the jab downstairs. That's it, take the attention away from a shot that's going to come over the top. And it's a great division at the moment, Paul, isn't it? The cruiserweight division. Dylan Smith, obviously the WBO champion, quality kid he really is. Jack Massey, I think, is a European champion. Chev Clark, he's the British champion. It's some real quality in the cruiserweight division. UK British boxers.
Dare I say, Richie, from about welterweight on in Great Britain at the moment, we could say the same about virtually every division, couldn't we?
It's an exciting time.
And lightweight. Start at lightweight.
It's an exciting times, isn't it, for British boxing?
So this is a moment of opportunity tonight for William Hamilton. Apparently various causes have delayed his progress overall, mentioning that he's 28 years of age. A lot of niggly injuries along the way, apparently. And like a lot of fighters of his generation, chose exactly the wrong moment in history to turn pro as the pandemic hit. So that was 2 years gone immediately.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Obviously, he's left it late anyway, hasn't he? But with the pandemic, then, it's just delayed things a little bit more. Like I say, it's not too late, Paul, to win major honours. But most Most boxers who go on to win world titles, they will have started much earlier than 28.
That shook the legs a bit.
There's that right hand over the top we're talking about, Paul. Howe's left hand just a little bit too low. Chin slightly in the air. And yes, he's caught him there. There it is again, look. So he's just got to be a little bit more active, hasn't he, rather than he's waited far too long.
Run your eye over these for us, Richie, would you please?
Yeah, probably the best shot of the whole contest up to now, that right hand, and it's probably the first one that's really connected. Let's have a look here, then he goes for one there. Look, that's a cracking shot, it really is. Moves in, dips down, and then whips that over the top. Tremendous. There's Moses Atama there. Paul, what an exciting heavyweight prospect he is.
Modesty prevents him looking up and waving. When he gets to about 21 or 22, he'll know that's part of the job.
Yeah. Quiet lad as well. Awesome talent.
Can he hit or not? So we're still waiting to see if Hamilton can land a big shot tonight. Largely, Perry Howe in his comfort zone, maybe expecting a harder night than he's getting at the moment.
He's just waiting a little bit too long again, Hamilton. He's obviously been successful with that right hand earlier in the previous round, so he's got to get to work again and set that shot up. A few jabs to the body, the odd feint downstairs, and then just whip that right hand over. Howe keeps drifting round to the left, you see, so he's actually going to walk onto it if he doesn't change his movement. There it is there, look, not too far away. So for Howe, he has to start moving a little bit more to his right away from that shot. But as we spoke about all night, Hamilton busy with the jab to set that right hand over the top, up. And also, I think Hamilton's got a decent left hook. So when he's there on the inside, why not finish on that shot also?
Have we seen one tonight so far?
Well, we've seen a couple that have missed the target. There's just one whipping around the side there. See, there it is there. You see that right hand again. How he's just drifting around onto that shot.
Amy Pugh steps in.
And I think, Paul, is this the first time I think Hamilton's gone past 4 rounds, actually, so new territory for him. You talk about that Ingle gym, you know, Paul. I remember years ago I did a lot of sparring with Harold Graham, you know, and oh, he was a magician. He really was, sparring him. He taught me so much, did Harold, and mainly with the feet also. He used to tread on my feet, and oh, there he goes, that right hand. Paul, that's the spot I'm talking.
Lands one. Howe took it well enough. Can Hamilton now follow up? The first big opening, first opportunity. First big breakthrough in this fight. This is meant to be a breakthrough night for Hamilton. He needs more of that. Goes again for the right hand. For the first time, Howe starting to look a little disorganised. But Howe's got through it.
Well, that was a
fucking telling you, get your
good shot.
fucking hands up. Brothers, what I know, mate, fucking do it.
Apologies for the language in the corner.
Fucking hands up.
Well, Robert Riley in that corner, yeah, reading the right attack. There's that right hand over the top, and yeah, he's quite right. The hand's a little bit low, but it's a good little slip to the left, isn't it, from Hamilton, and then it's the perfect shot then over the top, and just brought the hands down slightly of Howe, just momentarily, and he's connected.
Tap up and down. Change your pace. It's 180 seconds. You're not going to go mad, but don't start too slow.
So heading into the last round, Alan Smith sent Hamilton out with the words change your pace, inject a bit of pace. Big breakthrough in the 5th round, but he could well do with sending everybody away, sending the message to all the viewers on TNT Sports from the last round, making that a positive, because there's been a lot of negativity in this showing tonight.
Yeah, not a good performance from him tonight, from Hamilton, but going into the 6th round now for the very first time. Just showed us in that previous round of what he's capable of, that right hand over the top. There it is there. He's just got to concentrate a little bit, slip to the left and then whip that shot over the top. He's managed to land it cleanly twice, hasn't he? And Howe has got through it. And this is why you need more lead hand work, Paul. Like I say, just picking and poking all the time. And it just takes the opponent's focus off that right hand that's going to follow. But when you're stalking and nothing's coming, then the opponent just senses that you're looking to set up that right hand over the top, and so that's why Howe's on that back foot, and he's aware of it. That's why the lead hand needs to be, you know, much more. He must be working much more with that lead hand then to set that right hand over the top.
Richie, is there another point about that if you are throwing, and even if they're landing on the arms, you are going to tire the arms of the opponent out and maybe bring them down a bit?
Bring them down and just make him lose focus and the attention what's the right hand over the top that will follow. Just take his mind off it. Get his mind concentrating on that jab that keeps slamming into his arms or into his chest, or anywhere, into the chin, into the chest, into the arms. Just throw the shot. But all the time you're just teeing up and you're waiting then for the moment to land that right hand over the top. He'll learn from it, he'll learn from this, and when he look back he knows that he should have thrown more jabs into his corner a little bit more. But the signs are there that, you know, he's got decent power, and that seems to be his favourite shot, that right hand over the top. It's just getting in the right position to throw it.
He's nearly out of time to do it, last minute of this 6th rounder. A lot of hard work, clearly in shape, Hamilton, but he's not delivering a performance commensurate with the preparation at the moment.
See again there, just tried to throw it, but how he's sensing that, that's why he's just leaning back, and then that target's even more difficult to connect with.
Hamilton waiting and waiting. He's going to hear the clacker go in a second. He's pretty much out of time for the spectacular now, I'm afraid. It's been a grinding performance from William Hamilton, to say the best of it. Perry Howe, a very comfortable survivor. Howe will get work again very shortly, but the objective tonight was for this to be the launch pad for William Hamilton after a long wait for an opportunity. They don't come round every day, Richie, do they?
No, they don't, and you know, deep down he'll be disappointed. The only positive from that, he's got 6 rounds under his belt. But it wasn't a good performance really, and he's waited far too long, and he's just trying to set up that perfect punch. But he's just waited. He's won the contest, he's won almost every round, but deep down he won't be too pleased with that, I wouldn't have thought. And Alan Smith, you know, it's back to the drawing board and lots to work on. He has got decent power. This fella's done his job. A journeyman sort of star performance, keeping out the way and containing what's in front of him. But Hamilton, yeah, he'll have to improve. But after 6 rounds, Paul, that's probably a positive for him, that he's got 6 rounds under his belt.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, your scoring referee Mark Bates scores the contest 60-54 to your winner, and still undefeated, William the Future Hamilton.
Yet be bright,